So everyone kind of wants full self-driving cars to exist, and it makes sense why people would want that. It is a good idea. And when people say they don't want full self-driving cars, they usually just mean they would like the option to also drive themselves still. And since there's a lot of demand for a full self-driving car, there's a lot of companies trying to make full self-driving cars. Because whoever actually makes the full self-driving car first will make a bunch of money, and on top of that, they would basically have a monopoly because with the way these systems work, they work best at scale. Like Uber and Lyft, for example, is basically impossible to compete with because they work way better at scale. If you have a full self-driving car company and you own thousands of full self-driving cars, no one could really compete with you. And if you're a full self-driving car company trying to make a full self-driving car, this probably sounds great in theory. Problem is, I don't think full self-driving cars will ever actually be that good because right now they all kind of suck. And the Waymo cars are no different, but the co-CEO thinks that they are for some reason. And we'll touch more on that after a message from our sponsor. Today's video is sponsored by the Farmer's Dog Fresh Dog Food. So I'm Brandon, or spatnz, but you probably know that if you frequent the channel, and this is my dog, Kaza. And I switched Kaza to the Farmer's Dog food because he's kind of just a picky eater. I can tell he wasn't the biggest fan of kibble, so I decided to try the Farmer's Dog Fresh Dog Food subscription, and of course, he loves it. And not only does he love it, the Farmer's Dog Fresh Dog Food is super easy for me as well. It's shipped in a freezer box with pre-portioned meals for Kaza, with a feeding guide labeled for Kaza. Each day is already pre-portioned out, and I simply just thaw his food in the fridge the day before and feed him. And then every day, Kaza gets human-grade food from Human Food Facility. And the Farmer's Dog Fresh Dog Food meals are also developed with the help of a veterinary nutritionist, so I know what I'm giving Kaza is good for him. So what are you waiting for? Try the Farmer's Dog Fresh Dog Food for your dog today. And if you want to get 60% off your order, use my link in the description down below, as well as the pinned comment, or just scan the QR code on screen. Thank you to the Farmer's Dog Fresh Dog Food for sponsoring the video, and Kaza also appreciates it. So Waymo thinks they cracked the code on full self-driving cars, and they'll eventually end up in personal vehicle. Now, out of the full self-driving cars I have seen, Waymo is probably one of the best, if not the best. They operate in a lot of places in the US, and typically they do work. They sometimes do have hiccups, and trust me, they're on YouTube. I'm gonna be showing them throughout the video. But compared to the competition, they do work pretty well, because the competition is mainly Tesla, and we know how that goes. But Waymo thinks their technology is good enough to end up in other car brands like Toyota, which they're currently testing with them. And I could easily see Waymo being in a car as like an assistant that would be actually probably pretty good. Like, I would be okay with a Waymo driving assistant in my car. I think Waymo is good enough to be an assist, like automatic cruise control type of thing. But on the other hand, I would not trust Waymo to actually full self-drive, because here's the thing. Full self-driving is not real. Like, if you've watched any of my coverage on full self-driving cars, you know I don't think they're ever going to actually happen. They have been saying full self-driving cars are just a year away for literally over a decade at this point. I just don't think they're gonna actually happen. I think the real world is way too complicated to have AIs driving around in it. There is a way to get full self-driving cars, but no one likes to talk about it because it involves actually having separate infrastructure for full self-driving cars. Like, if you want real full self-driving cars, you need a separate lane specifically for full self-driving cars. You cannot have real people in full self-driving cars on the same road with the current level of intelligence of full self-driving cars. And I do not think we have the technology to actually make the full self-driving cars more intelligent. We just don't. All the attempts to making these cars smarter is basically putting them in parking lots and letting them figure stuff out, and they never do. So in my mind, this announcement from Waymo is more just to take over the Tesla hype cycle of full self-driving cars, because Tesla has kind of given up on making cars altogether. They stopped making the Cybertruck because no one bought it, shocker, and they also canceled the Model S and X, which is actually a pretty big deal. The Model S and X were Tesla's flagship cars, and the fact that they stopped making them is a pretty bad sign for Tesla. Like, keep in mind, the Tesla Model S Plaid was the fastest production car ever made, and they stopped selling it. They stopped selling the fastest production car ever made. That's really bad. And all of the recent Tesla marketing has been about the Optimus robot, which is not real and will never actually be good. But Tesla has basically given up on making cars and making fully autonomous cars, and now they're trying to peddle robots that are not going to exist. So currently, there's a big gap in the market for a full self-driving car, at least the hopium of a full self-driving car. And I think Waymo is trying to take over that hopium by advertising, saying, hey, we're gonna have full self-driving cars real soon here in personal vehicles. And Waymo cars are definitely better than Tesla cars at full self-driving. There's an undeniable fact. That is what happens when you actually put the amount of sensors you need on the car versus just using cameras like Tesla. The Waymo cars have way more sensors on them, and they're just way safer in general. Like, I would trust a Waymo way more than I would a Tesla. But that does not mean this car is full self-driving, because it's just not. Like, Waymo cars are better, but there's still plenty of video online of these things getting stuck doing the dumbest thing you can possibly imagine. Like, this is stuff a person would literally never do. It just shows you these cars are not ready to be full self-driving. And Waymo Waymo knows these cars aren't full self-driving yet. That's why they have staff in remote locations to watch the car as it drives and then correct it if it needs to. And that whole correction process also helps Waymo train the car because the human intervenes and tells the car what to do and the car learns from it. But I don't think that'll be enough to actually make these cars full self-driving like Waymo wants to. I think at best you'll just get the current setup with less people where you have people remoting in to correct the car's behavior. And personally, if it was a short ride, I would not mind taking a Waymo at all. It seems okay if it's a shorter ride. Now, if it was a long distance ride, I would not want to take a Waymo because it would definitely probably crash. But a short 5 to 15 minute trip is probably fine for these kinds of cars. But the co-CEO claims this technology is solved, which is just a flat out lie. It is not solved. This technology is still buggy as hell. There's constant problems with this stuff. It just doesn't work that well. Like, yeah, Waymo cars are better than the competition because the competition is Tesla, but that's not really saying much. And I understand that Waymo is a full self-driving car company, and they're obviously going to push for full self-driving cars. It's obviously what they're going to do. But it's important to remember that whenever a tech company promises something, it's probably not real until they show you it. Almost any time these tech companies have made a promise, they just never deliver. It doesn't matter what company it is. It's all of them. Like, even Apple has made promises they didn't deliver on very recently. So I fully expect Waymo to never actually deliver any of these fully autonomous cars they keep talking about because they're not real. But what do you guys think about the Waymo full self-driving cars? Let me know in the comments down below. Like and subscribe if you're new. Click that to not check out my content and have a good one.